So Grounded had a hotfix the other day that changed a lot again and basically buffed a lot of the stuff to do with the turrets, and were able to place the burrs on sidewalls as well as upside down too. This is a great little feature, just like the turrets. I absolutely love the idea that you can get creative in placing your traps and stuff around. And the nerf of the base raiding, I'm sure is welcomed by so many of you guys that were complaining that specifically air raids were just damn too hard. So you were getting wiped out some of your bases. So clearly a bit of twisting around with some numbers to improve it. I've got to say, for the first time, I'm going to be a little bit critical of the update. I've absolutely loved the base defense update. I think it's one of the best things Grounded's done. I think the game needed something to help with the replayability. For players that don't necessarily like building, this helps give you something more to do or more to kind of encounter, and it might encourage you to build, because then you do have to think a bit more about base defenses. But after 2 weeks in their testing branch and then a further week, it still just doesn't feel that right at the moment. Like I said, I vow to be constructive if I've got anything to say, and that's not always been the case with other games I've covered. Sometimes I have just been like, nope, these devs are rubbish, they should be doing this, doing that, but being a bit more balanced and taking a look. Early access is designed for this. That's what early access is for, to test features out. But I guess we get a bit spoilt by things like the public test branch, where we assume that's where all the testing goes, and early access should be like the done deal. And I think in the past, Obsidian have done really great jobs of doing that. They've had the public test branches out, stuff's been fixed, sorted out, and by the time the game goes live for everyone to update, it's been great. But of course, with updates like these, they do need everyone to play it, and only about 10 to 15% of players actually bother with the public test branch, either on Xbox or the PC. So I can imagine they wanted to get more feedback from the wider populace to really confirm maybe some of the problems and issues with some of it. So yeah, I don't want to be overly negative. I can't stand other tubers lately that are just jumping on the bandwagon every time there's a small little problem, making it out like it's the world's worst issue. But after 3 weeks, I guess, of the update kind of being live, there still are just a few little issues that need to be remedied, or might kind of explain that they'll revisit it at another time. Before we discuss that any further, did you know I've done a 50 days of Grounded? Go and check it out right now to see my adventures in getting a mushroom castle up and built before day 50 and the bugs strike back. Did I manage to do it? You guys go and watch it. You'll find a link to it in the comment section. Really appreciate supporting this one. And a big thank you for 5,000 subscribers. Pretty much today, we're going to hit that mark, and I can't thank you enough for the support on this, my second channel. We've also hit 1 million views as well at pretty much the same time, so that's a massive, incredible deal. It took me like a year when I first started up my first YouTube channel about 7 years ago to get them kind of numbers, so we've done it in literally 5 months. So thank you so much, everyone. So basically, still, right now, these bombs are almost useless. The turrets have had a much improved buff, and they do definitely improve in your chances of base defense against a whole plethora of creatures. I do believe the pollen turret is really meant to be the one that you use for air defense, that you can knock creatures out and then they'll be stunned, fall down, and if you're anywhere near water, hopefully they'll die. There's still a bit of an issue where the stun doesn't last long enough, in my opinion. You just don't get enough time to get out, especially if you're a single player, and then go and deal with them. That's what I would assume a stun would be used for. You want to stun a creature, jump out, and then finish them off. Or I guess though that maybe it's just time to give you another shot so you can take out the creature rapidly. I'm super pleased they lowered it so we could even shoot even further down now and up, so that's pretty much solved the problem, I guess, of the turrets not being able to angle downwards. And of course you can place them upside down, so if you really want to angle downwards, put them on a ceiling instead. So the devs are obviously trying, they're offering solutions to some of the stuff that's come in, but there's still just a few niggles. The turret's actual firing mechanism, especially from the Pebblet one, I still feel like it could do just a bit more speed. Aesthetically, it just looks like it's a cannon rather than a turret. If you've got 2 kind of gun barrels, then at least have us firing 2 pellets in quick succession, or just make it into a cannon. I'm sure the devs might iterate it on it again, but obviously, as we know, the updates have been coming every sort of 3 months. We haven't got many left now, so I kind of feel that if we don't really get lots of feedback in, we may end up with some of these features not really doing what they want to do, or they just might be too gimmicky and they just become something that no one ever uses. I'm still going to say that I reckon a lot of players are not going to be using these turrets. They're still going to just jump out and use their weapons or their armors instead. I really feel like the devs hit out the park in having better base defences. I was expecting just honey traps, which I've shown, which were in the game years ago, a year and a half ago, and maybe the ice traps and stuff like that. But to have actual turrets was a brand new thing, which I thought was great. But I do wonder if it was better to maybe have more of the simple stuff, to stuff that will slow creatures down like the honey traps, or possibly the catapults, which I've shown you guys before, that would fling creatures away from your base. Maybe that stuff is incoming as well, but I just find it a bit odd that the devs didn't really talk or haven't mentioned anything about more base defense features coming in the future. In fact, I don't think we've actually spoken to Adam or seen him speak, or some of the other devs, really about this update in full like they normally do with a Casually Grounded, so I was surprised that they weren't on last night. I'm pretty sure it's because they're busy still working on the bugs and issues that have come out with this update, because it was mechanically huge. Bottom line, does it matter? The base raids have been nerfed enough now that you shouldn't be having your whole base raided by flying creatures or pretty much anything, unless you're literally just standing there letting them do it. So the urgency in maybe fixing or doing more to the base defences probably isn't there, and that might be why we might not see any more drastic changes to them or any more additions until 4.0, i.e. 1.0 full release. But it's not just the turrets that are just a bit weak sauce. The burr bombs, they are just way too weak in terms of what they're still doing. They increased the range of them apparently by 50%, so you assume that would be doing more damage. And yet confirming they have reduced how much damage it does to buildings, so that's definitely plus points. My issue is that they say they've done more damage to wave creatures, but I can't really see that much of an improvement in how much damage has been done. To me, they should kill all small creatures. The only things that should be able to withstand them should be stuff like ladybugs, black ox beetles, roly-polies, and maybe giant spiders. I'd even go so far to say they should probably kill all weavers, but maybe wolf spiders only take maybe half their damage. I guess this is the problem though. If you start making it too OP, then it causes issues in the rest of the progression, how you deal with other creatures. Everyone will just kind of cheese using these, putting them outside a wolf spider's den, setting them off as soon as it comes close, and boom, dead. I was just mucking around here to see what kind of damage the pebble kind of turret does against maybe a much harder creature. I know this isn't realistic, we're not going to be using this in an actual termite hill, but you get the idea. It's important to note that only defense creatures are going to necessarily be taking more damage from turrets, whereas if you do spawn in a creature like this, or you do aggro or put one down near just something more regular, it's not going to maybe do as much damage. So I guess that's what they're trying to solve, us not using these to cheese every creature in the yard. But it does feel a little bit limiting. Like, if you're going to give us the tools to make traps, should they only ever be used as base defense? Can we not go and try and use them to take on bosses, set up ambushes to take on wolf spiders and more? And I think that's what this hotfix has really laid out to me. The buffs and bonuses and the way these base defense features are here, they are meant to be only for the base defense. You're not meant to be carrying around the resources to whack a turret down and start taking down some of the harder creatures. But I kind of feel that's a shame. If that's the way it's going to be, maybe there should be a radius where you get that buff or bonus and it's very clear that you get that bonus. Like if it's close to a workbench and it's your home workbench, it's set as your workbench, then maybe that's when you get the bonus buffs to turrets and base defense features. Because literally anyone could be thinking, yeah, I'm going to go to the wolf spider's den, I'm going to set up my own turret system so that I can kill them whenever I want, and then find out that actually it's pretty tough to kill them with a turret. It's only when they're attacking your bases, it seems, that we're getting these bonuses applied. So that's where you guys come in. Is it too easy? Is it too hard? Now you've had a day or so to play with it. That's why I didn't put this video out straight away. I did want to give you guys time to get some feedback. Let me know. Do you think it's in a good spot right now? Are you just happy that your base isn't getting demolished and you've got a cool new toys to play with? And what do you think about future plans? Do you reckon we are going to get more base defense features? I've been saying I still want it to go harder. I know people hate me for this, but maybe not harder, but definitely more kind of complex. Like, I've always wanted it to be like a good feature, not something that's only kind of novelty that only gets happening once or twice in a playthrough. I think maybe with a bit of work, the wafter could be what I'm looking for in terms of being able to have them kind of mini games where you can control even more exactly how many creatures will spawn, kind of increase the difficulty of them creatures attacking, basically have more modifiers for it so that we can really adjust and change stuff. Maybe make it different game modes where they'll summon creatures, then they'll focus on players, or they'll summon on base parts. You get the idea. I just think there needs to be more a little bit with the wafter to really give it even more than it's got at the moment. My biggest issue as well with the grenades at the moment, I hate that they can only be activated with spicy. Like, if you've gone to the effort of doing it, I've said it before, I really feel like we should just be able to press a button on it and run away. You shouldn't have to have a spicy weapon to hit it. It just feels a little bit counterproductive. I can't think we can have the bombs going off as soon as an insect touches it, because obviously that would set off any time an aphid just ran by. But certainly a way that we can control them more. Maybe even a detonator that we have in our hand. Or just using regular arrows to set them off rather than spicy. And I guess the last thing to talk about is that sometimes the base raiding just still isn't working that well. Like, in certain spots on the map, you're not getting actually attacked by a bunch of creatures, or it's taking for absolutely ever for them to come from different parts of the yard. This is 4 times the speed, and you can see I'm just waiting, looking around for the map to see if these ants are ever going to turn up. And eventually they do, but yeah, it seems to take a while, so it definitely looks like there's some still issues in locations. And then finally, while using the wafter, it does seem like there is some problems in terms of where the creatures will go to. I had the wafter literally right in front of me and some ants were attacking, but after a while they didn't, they just weren't there. And then I realised they were just down the way a little bit, attacking my other testing area that I'd done just beyond the fruit punch box. So that's still got to be tweaked, I guess, that when you fire off the wafter, they're going to come exactly to that wafter location rather than anything nearby. I'm guessing it's just part of their AI at the moment, that if they come across maybe a workbench on that way, they're going to maybe go for that instead. So there we go, hopefully not too critical. I just want the game to be as good as it can be. I've left it for 3 weeks, seen all the changes and gone through, and that's why I've just waited till now, because they have fixed the majority of stuff. They've really listened to the feedback about them being too hard, but I still feel like it's just a little bit weak sauce, some of it. It just feels a bit too gimmicky at the moment. And if they want it like that, to be gimmicky, that's fine, but I still feel like we should have a bit more freedom then to go ahead and use them in other spots. If players want to waste their time carrying enough ingredients to be building a turret system and taking on wolf spiders, then kind of let them have the same kind of damage output. Let players have that freedom to go ahead, and if they want to be OP and carry them around, they can be. Agree, disagree, let me know. As I said, it's still one of the best updates going. It's added so much more with the mixers, with the wafter, giving you multiple different ways to play the game. Have fun events on your own or with friends. I definitely feel like this is still one of the best updates going. It just still needs that little bit of tweaking or clarification about what's going to happen next with base defences. Until next time, Ratbags, I'll catch you later.